guys, today we're going to be teaching you about tempering chocolate.
I'm Kate and I am the chocolate analyst.
I'm Anju and I am the chocolate tempering master.
I'm Emily and I'm our chocolate alchemist.
I'm Leah and I'm the expert chocolate chopper.
I'm Tiana and I'm the senior chocolate confectioner.
And we are Team Chocolatiers.
So first, before we start, we have to make sure we wash hands. And then a trick for cutting chocolate is to actually start at the corner. I feel like Willy Wonka with my golden chicken chocolate bar right now. And what's funny is usually people think about using a larger straight knife, but it's actually better to use a bread knife because there's less resistance. And if you start right on the corner, you want to start usually right at the end so you can hold on both sides. And then cut really finely because you're melting it, so you want a really even cut as well. You can see if you use a sharper straight knife, it's hard to get the angle and it usually slides right off, so it's not the even chocolate. Another way is to cut it into strips and line your strips up, holding the knife at the tip, working your way through.
The first chocolate we're going to talk about is white chocolate. White chocolate contains no cocoa solids. It is instead made from cocoa butter. Many times white chocolate has milk, sugar, and vanilla added to enhance the flavor. When you buy it, if it's more white and less ivory, it may have vegetable oils or fats and other artificial food additives, and it can be more difficult to cook with because of the fat content. The next one is milk chocolate. It is solid chocolate made with milk that can either be liquid, powdered, or condensed, plus cocoa solids. It often contains milk fats, vanilla, cocoa butter, and lecithin. Milk chocolate must be at least 10% chocolate liqueur and 12% milk solids. Fun fact, the first chocolate drink developed by the Germans in mid-1800s, and the first solid chocolate was developed by the Swiss in the late 1800s. Then we have dark chocolate, which includes semi-sweet chocolate and bittersweet chocolate. Dark chocolate generally does not have milk solids added, and the percentage of cocoa solids can range from 30 to 80%, which results in a drier, chalkier, and more bitter taste and texture. Dark chocolate must be at least 15% chocolate liqueur and less than 12% milk solids. The semi-sweet and bittersweet chocolates are both a type of dark chocolate, and those depend on the rate of cocoa butter to solids. Dark chocolate can have health benefits if consumed in moderation. They contain flavonols, which act through antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. These may help lower blood pressure and cholesterol, improve cognition, and may lower the risk of diabetes, cancer, and dementia. The flavonols, though, are what give it a bitter taste, and a lot of times manufacturers will take these out in processing, which decreases the amount of health benefits that the chocolate has.
All right, so chocolate contains 5 different types of crystalline forms throughout it, and each of them has a different melting point. So when we're tempering chocolate, we're basically increasing the temperature and melting each of the different crystalline forms one at a time. When we're tempering chocolate, the chocolate starts out with all of these different crystalline forms within it. Then, as we raise the temperature, each of those crystalline forms start to break apart, and we raise it to a point at which only the type 5 crystals are present. Then, as the chocolate cools, only the type 5 crystals are present, and all of those other types of crystals form type 5 crystal structures.
Now I'm going to show you how to make the inside of the truffles. So as you remember from earlier, we finely chopped Very Sweet chocolate. So you have to measure 8 ounces of this. So I have my scale here. I'm going to turn it on, make sure it's zeroed with this bowl on it. Dump my chocolate in. And it is at 8 ounces. And then next I'm going to measure out 1 cup of heavy whipping cream. Now that it's just at a boil, I'm going to remove it from the heat, turn off the stove, whisk it a little bit, and then pour it over our chocolate. And then you're going to want to let this sit for 1 minute. Now you're going to whisk the chocolate and heavy cream until it's smooth after you let it sit for the 1 minute. You're going to take this mixture and pour it over onto a baking sheet. And we have wax paper here so that it doesn't stick. And you're going to spread it with a spatula.
Ooh, that looks delicious. Sorry, I'm just gonna get too much chocolate all over this. So gooey.
It's like hard, but once you add like the least bit of heat to it,
Yeah,
it's
just like
ooh. I might throw these in the
thanks.
freezer.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
I'm trying to not scrape the paper, but yeah, see, it's so hard to do.
All right, so now we're actually going to temper the chocolate, but before we do that, I just wanted to go over the different types of tempering. So there's 3 different types, and you can use the double boiler method, the seeding method, which Emily will talk about, and also the tabling method. So I'm just gonna demonstrate sort of the double boiler method right now. And for this, you can actually use a double boiler that you can go out and buy, and really it's just sort of one saucepan that fits over another saucepan. Or if you don't have that at home, you can also use a heat-proof bowl, which you can either use this heat-proof bowl or a stainless steel bowl. And so what you do, you're gonna place water in the bottom of the pan, and you're gonna wanna bring it to a simmer, but you also wanna make sure that the water doesn't touch the bottom of the bowl or the saucepan. And what you're gonna do is actually place your chocolate that's in small pieces into the bowl. And as it's melting, you're gonna wanna continue to stir it with a spatula or something else that is heat-proof. And you wanna stir it until the chocolate is almost entirely melted. And so you're also gonna want to try not to let any of the water splash into the bowl, because then the chocolate will seize up and the result will not be very nice. All right, so for the double boiler method, what we have now is the water that's simmering in the bottom of the pan, and what I'm going to do is take my dark chocolate and I'm going to pour about 2/3 of the chocolate that I'm using into the saucepan. Just gonna guesstimate it. See, probably right about there. And now I'm going to wait for the dark chocolate to get to about 120 degrees Fahrenheit. With dark chocolate, you're gonna have to get to 120 degrees, and with milk and white chocolate, you're gonna wanna raise the temperature to 105 degrees. And once this chocolate is melted, we're gonna remove it from the heat and let it cool for a little bit.
Remember, there are 5 different types of crystalline forms in this chocolate to start. We're raising the temperature to 120 degrees to basically break down all 5 types of crystal forms. So types 1 through 4 are going to be very unstable crystals, whereas type 5 is stable and the form we are trying to achieve with the tempered chocolate. By raising it to 120 degrees, we're breaking apart all of those crystals.
So now that the temperature has reached 120 degrees Fahrenheit, I'm going to stir in the extra 1/3 that we had remaining. I'm just going to stir it in. And then I'm going to let this cool to about 82 degrees and whisk it.
Yeah. Okay. So by lowering the temperature of the chocolate after we've raised it to 120 degrees, we're basically creating seeded chocolate. You might remember that Anju brought up the second type of tempering, which is the seeding method. So basically, in a confectioner's world, at this point, they would remove the chocolate from the heat, allow it to completely cool, and then use that chocolate as a seed chocolate for future production of tempered chocolate. So remember that the type 5 crystals are the very stable form of crystals, and that's what's going to produce a very shiny chocolate that has a hard snap to it.
And now it's time to make our truffles. We are going to dip them in our chocolate.
All right, guys, another chocolate joke for you. In the spirit of the new Star Wars movie, Kate, what do you call Chewbacca who has chocolate stuck in his hair?
I don't know. What do you call Chewbacca when he has chocolate stuck in his hair?
A chocolate chip Wookiee!